introduction because he's with us quite frequently. But for those of you who are new, this is the Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, and he's with us often to give our message, and we're really glad to see you back today. Welcome back.
Absolute joy-filled, happy, love-filled, light-filled, amazing morning to you all. So we're going to, well, I guess should I ask it? Okay. So disclaimer first. Raise your hand if you're sort of on the squeamish side or you're easily upset stomachy kind of thing. Okay. But you were in class, so this doesn't count for you. Okay. So we're going to start off with an experiment. Because I'm assuming you trust me, right? Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes, but before you do that, what I need you to do, I really need you to do this, is be extremely aware. Those who were in my Wednesday night class, you already did this, so feel free to do it again or watch your neighbors. I need you to be really aware of your body. Be aware of how you're sitting, be aware of how you're breathing, what your face is doing, if you're frowning, if you're smiling. I need you to be really present in your meat suit, right? Be really present. Okay? So, eyes closed and simply breathe. And what I want you to do is, using the power of your imagination, see yourself walking into your kitchen. And what I want you to do is walk to your refrigerator. And open the refrigerator and see on the top shelf a bowl of lemons. And what I want you to do is reach in and take a nice cold lemon out. And walk over to the counter and grab a knife. And get ready to cut it, but then change your mind and put the knife down. And in the same way you would bite into an apple, bite into the lemon. And chew. And then pull the lemon away from your face and look at it. And see that there is half a worm remaining. And then when you are ready and comfortable, open your eyes and return to the room. Now, some of you frowned, correct? You made noise, there were some giggles. Share with me why. Throw out some reasons. Why did you make noise and why did you do what you did?
Because I was growing up from the worm.
But you didn't eat the worm.
But I took a bite into it.
No, you didn't. You imagined you did.
I was 100% in the moment.
But it wasn't a real moment. It was an imagined moment.
Okay.
Now, I say that to say for a very important reason. We already know that imagination is a power. It is a spiritual tool. It is a weapon in our spiritual arsenal of truth. And how often do we use our imaginations to craft and create what we don't want? I've said this before because you have a physical reaction to this thing you imagine. Do we not think that when we have a what if and worry, that's imagination. We are worrying about something. We are dreading something. We are fearful of something that isn't happening right now. It's a projected, imagined. But if you imagining biting into a lemon caused you to salivate, you biting into a lemon caused you to giggle and laugh. Biting into it caused you to scrunch up your face. And then pulling it away and like, oh my. It's not real though. But you had a physical response. Do we not also understand that the same kind of thing is happening to our bodies all the time? Whether it's cortisol we are sending through our system, acid to our organs because we are imagining something and the brain can't tell the difference between what we imagine and what is really happening. That's how powerful we are. So now, in line with that, what I want to talk today about is this thing called dreams. How many of us in here have you don't have to raise your hand because some of you are like, I don't want to raise my hand, you're going to call on me. I'm not going to call on you. So if you want to raise your hand, feel free to. There are other times that I do, but I won't, I promise you I will not today. No, seriously. So, how many of us have a dream? Whether it's a dream to be a teacher, a dream to be a musician, a dream to be on Broadway, a dream to something. We have a dream to do, be, or have something. What if I told you that that dream is not enough for you? That whatever that dream is only one small grain of sand on the infinite beach of possibility for you to be, do, or have. And the reason I say that is because let's think about this for a minute. Somebody moving? Let's think about this for a minute. Squirrel. Let's think about this for a minute. We say that God is all there is, correct? Does God exist in a box? No. That this infinite, expanding universe is all that God is. So as far as your eye can see, and as far as the Hubble telescope can see, and as far as we can even imagine, the infinity of God is. And if we say that it is all there is, then it is also right here, right now, in, as, and through you. So that means the exact same infinite power that is making your liver, your lungs, your heart, and these plants, and the structure of the root, it's making all of this stuff happen. All at one time. In unison, in harmony. Is also who and what you are. Then how could you possibly be limited to a dream or a goal? Or I just want to be a. I just want to have a. Just a. That's a limit. No. One of the things I posted today on social media was, because I post these daily calendar things that I meditate and come up with, and today it was something to the effect of, today I'm going to live in such an expansive and infinite manner that I realize I do not need to have goals. Because if I am living as the I am, I don't need goals. Because my very living is expansiveness. So that goal to be a whatever, that would just be me waking up in the morning, being an author. Ooh, I don't need to set a goal to be one if it's what I make up my mind to. I don't wake up in the morning and say, today my goal is to brush my teeth and use mouthwash. Like, I don't make that a goal. Unless my dentist said, Ray, you haven't been, then it's like, oh, no, I haven't been. I'm going to set that as a goal. But when it's something we normally naturally do, eat, normally naturally clothe and bathe ourselves, stuff, it's normal. So why would goals and dreams not be a normal part of who and what we are? Now the thing is, or part of the little questiony thing is, we have people like Gandhi, Walt Disney, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, etc., Princess Diana. We've got all these people that we admire and respect for the things that they dreamt up, the goals that they've had. But if I were to ask you, you have a goal or a desire to do or be or have something, are you willing to die for it? Are you willing to put everything that you know right now as you on the line to be, do, or have that? Now, your first thought might be, nope. I don't need to write a book. I don't need to teach a workshop. I'm going to make brownies. Like, that might be where your mind first goes. Like, nope. I'm not willing to die. And I'm not talking about your physical, human self-death. I'm talking about, are you willing to die to the old you, the limitations and the lack forms, thoughts of consciousness that say you can't, that say you won't, that say whatever they are you willing to die? Pause for a second. So recently, a couple of us were in New York for a variety of reasons. And at one point, I was sitting on the train, and literally this guy behind me was talking to his friends, and he said, you know, when I was a kid, I used to have a really vivid, active imagination. But, you know, now I've learned how to suppress that. And I wanted to turn around to him and say, don't suppress, like, let me stick some sense to you, man. But we do that all the time. We are always suppressing who and what we ultimately could be for some reason or another. Do you remember what I talked about? How many of you were here when I talked about Moses going to the mountain? Remember I talked about his transfiguration? Okay, maybe easy. How many of you do not remember me talking about Moses and the transfiguration? Okay, both those hands went. So let us repeat for a moment. So there are two times in the Bible where this idea of transfiguration is ultimately mentioned. Moses goes to the mountain, Jesus goes to the mountain. Moses goes up and receives the Ten Commandments, and he comes down and he radiated with this light so brightly that the people could not look upon him because they were like, oh, dude, that's 100 watt. Our eyes are only geared for 45. Turn that down. So he covered himself. He put a veil over himself so that they could look upon him. How many times do we turn our magnificence down to make mom or dad, our brothers or sisters, our cousins, our employers, our friends, our neighbors more comfortable? How often do we do that? All the time. And it's time for us to say, I am willing to outdream myself. That means whatever my dream is right now today, I am willing to say, I know that that's just scratching the surface. I don't even have to know what ultimately is there. I don't have to know. I don't need to know how it's going to happen. I don't even need to know why it's going to happen. I just need to know I'm available. I'm expansive enough and available enough to say that this infinite power that is all good, all love, all joy, all creativity is here as me. It's time to play. It's time to roll up my sleeves and just do everything that pops. Not everything that pops into your mind. But do everything that, because some of y'all are like, oh, Ray just gave me permission to go. No! Everything that is loving and creative and joy-filled that flows up within you. When it shows up, that is the universe saying, are you ready to go play? This is what I want to be in you, with you, as you, and through you. Are you ready? You heard of this one? What's her name? J.K. Rowling. You heard of this one before? So, for those who may not know her story, just real short. She lost a child, she miscarried, she lost her job, she lost her home, she was going to commit suicide, and then at one point she just sat down and she said, what do I love to do? Write. And she wrote. And we know how that story went. She lost and she lost and she lost until she got to a point where she just surrendered and said, what do I love? To the degree where it wasn't just what do I love, but what loves me enough to be birthed through me. Because it's never a one-sided thing. Any dream that we have is never a one-sided thing. Because the moment we're working with spiritual principle, it has to affect the one. That's why the moment you wake up, or I feel like Oprah, and you get a consciousness, and you get enlightenment.
I'll take the Cadillac, thank you anyway.
And you get a Cadillac. But the moment any single one of us, the light comes on, it affects every one of us. That's why it's not possible for us to be in isolation. So every spiritual practice you are doing is not just for you. It's for everyone. Are we willing to expand that point of our consciousness to see and envelop? It's almost July 4th, correct? Independence Day. Are we willing to, as an example, expand our consciousness to such a degree that we realize that independence isn't something that needs to be won or earned or fought for? It simply is. And in this independence, meaning freedom, meaning justice, meaning more than equality but equanimity, that when I am walking as that, then I am encompassing and enveloping the entire planet with that same energy as well. To the degree where there was a young lady, and some of you have already heard about this, but there was a young lady in the Reston area, Muslim young lady, who was killed. And I and a couple other people got together and were like, look, what is mine to do? What is mine to do? And what came to me was, I need to write a letter to that community. I need to let them know that a loss in your community is a loss in my community. No, I am not Muslim. I do not need to be Muslim. I'm human. And a loss to any human is a loss in my family. Now, loss speaking from the persona aspect, the ego aspect, because we know as spiritual folks that ultimately there is nothing that can be lost. Death is merely an illusion. It is merely one doorway into another, ever expanding life after life form of existence. But when you get hit with, my daughter was killed, what you see and sense is loss. But if I'm taking this teaching and I am not able to understand, there's only one. A butterfly that flaps, you've heard this before, a butterfly that flaps its wings there causes a storm, typhoon, something there. The concept of what happens in one place affects us all. So the moment we allow ourselves to outdream ourselves, we become a change agent for this planet, for this universe, for the galaxy, and beyond. Because wherever consciousness is, there's only one. It's not like our God is the consciousness of the Milky Way, and that God is the consciousness of payday, and that God is the consciousness of Snickers, and that's the God. I'm sorry, I want candy. I know I want candy. Sorry, it's what came into my mind. But it's not a separate God of all of. There's only one consciousness. And the moment I allow, Eric Butterworth says in his book Celebrate Yourself, that humans are ever-evolving spiritual beings. We are ever-evolving spiritual beings. Are we consciously aware of that? Are we consciously aware of our ability to use that? Because you can be aware that you are an amazing musician, but if you never sing and you never let your hands touch the ivory, what are you creating? It stays in here. Even in The Music Man, he told the kids, think about it. Just imagine you're playing. Just think about it and envision you're playing. And then at the end, when they really came out, they were like, he was like, oh my goodness, it really worked. But until what's in our consciousness shows up, we keep it as a theory. God is a theoretical love is all there is. God as theory health is all there is. God as theory, source as theory, 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 theory. We are not theoretical beings, though. Who said, if you cut me, do I not bleed? If you pinch me, do I not ow? Right? We know that there is a part of us that feels, and we feel passionately. But we let other things take over. We let other things suppress us. We let other things deny us. We let other things come in and force us to feel like being vulnerable is a bad thing. That cause us to think that stepping out on the limb with the leap of faith is a stupid thing. You want to what? You want to quit your job and do what? Do you know? Young man, let me tell you, do you not understand how many times have we had a finger? Or the proverbial finger wagged in our face by some well-meaning teacher, parent, guardian, sibling, someone. Stay on the right and narrow and blah, 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 and yeah, okay. And even if we went out and did it, somewhere in us, we took that in and we took it in and we created a chain that we have been walking around enslaved by since whenever. And it's time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Now is the perfect time to say, what do I want to be? And whatever that is, realize there's something even better. Because once again, J.K. Rowling never had the idea, I'm sure, that writing about this little boy living in a closet would become a global phenomenon, the likes of which my mind still can't wrap around. Like there's a Hogwarts at Disney, which I'm going to go visit one day. But and I have a wand, but I told you that before. Anyhow, I digress. She didn't envision. Before she was finished with the last book, it had already sold out. How are you? It's It's not even published yet. It's not even published yet, and it was sold out. George Lucas, Star Wars. George Lucas never would have envisioned that at some point Star Wars would birth the idea of the Jedi, which eventually would actually become a religion. Don't know if you knew that, but eventually, Australia petitioned their government to make it a recognized religion on their census. And once they did that, other countries said, well, wait a minute, if they can do it, so can we. So being a Jedi is an actual religion. I should know, I became an ordained Jedi several years ago. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. So I had to do it to see if it was true. And it's true. And I'm sure George Lucas didn't envision that that is where his dream would go. I'm sure that Gene Roddenberry, how many Trekkies do I have in the room? I'm sure that Gene Roddenberry didn't envision that Spock, who everyone told him, get rid of that character. No one's going to understand a pointy ear. They're not going to get it. That Spock would become one of the most beloved characters. That Leonard Nimoy would then be known as, are we willing to expand so far? Speaking of Gene Roddenberry, don't know if you know this. Anybody know Kol Ut Shan? It's Vulcan. If you do, I'm going to walk up out of here because I'm going to be so impressed. Kol, K-O-L, Ut, U-T, Shan, S-H-A-N. You know what it means? Kol Ut Shan. It's a Vulcan phrase. In Vulcan, there is a concept of infinite diversity in showing up in infinite combinations. It's also abbreviated as IDIC. Infinite diversity showing up in infinite combinations. That is what the entirety of the Vulcan people rest their philosophy on. That everywhere we look, there is beauty. That the diversity upon which we gaze is the very beauty of creation itself. And it is infinite in its diversity. And infinite in the combinations of how it shows up. One of the things that Ruth, Tracy, Alejandro was there for DC. But we went to Pride in New York and we went to Pride in DC. And one of the things I love about Pride is the infinite diversity in the infinite combinations of how people choose to express themselves. It is without limit. Are we willing to step forward and say that whatever I think, perceive, feel is limiting me? Can't be. Because to say that it is limiting you says that somewhere in your consciousness it's limiting God. Anything that comes up, age, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm not old enough, or whatever. God, wherever you are, just so you know, you can't do it. I know you're trying to do it through me, in me, as me, but you can't. I won't let you, is what we're doing. We are stopping the universe from being what it wants to be as you. I don't have enough money. Money isn't real anyway. This thing, what is this? It's paper. Paper infused with some threads. Ooh. If I take this, because if this was inherent in value, if I was to travel back in time to say 1203 and try to buy something with this, they would lock me up. Because this doesn't mean anything. It's what it represents. And what it represents is energy. The law of compensation is a law of energy, not a law of paper and coins. And so once we realize that there is no limit, except for what I put in my consciousness. Well, they won't hire women. Okay, so how is that then be the first? Well, they won't let blacks sit at the, well, we saw how that went. Well, they won't, we step into this place of, in my imagination, can I see beyond Whatever wall I'm seeing, whatever fence I am seeing, whatever obstacle I am seeing in my consciousness that says, no, you can't. No, you won't. No, you're not good enough. No, you're not worthy. No, you're not rich enough, wealthy enough, smart enough. No, you can't remember. Listen here. For those who are on Facebook, you saw something I posted yesterday or day before yesterday, I don't even remember anymore, about people have been coming to me, and I told the people in my Wednesday night class that on any given week, I receive a minimum of 20 so insults from folks. People who tell me, you have no business being a minister, you know, you have tattoos, or you tell too many jokes, or I don't like your socks, literally, I don't like your jewelry. Like, these are the reasons you wear that Dr. Strange pendant, or I don't like the way the knot is in your tie. They give all kind of reasons. And 99% of them have nothing to do with the message. Because I would understand if people said, well, the stuff that you were talking about, I would give you that. But you're criticizing me as a human. Because you don't like me as a human, you want me to stop doing what God wants to do through me, with me, in me, and as me. And I'm sorry, but nobody is answering that phone. Are we willing to say enough is enough? Even when we show up on this shoulder and say, Crystal, what are you doing? I was minding my own business. Why? What do you want? I just want to tell you that this thing that you're trying, this business and website, no. What? We got this. Me, my divine higher self, the I am that I know that I am. You, be gone. Are we willing to go to that place and say, if I feel so inspired to be it, then it's mine to be. Be vulnerable. Be willing to cry. Be willing to be seen as something that you may not want to be seen as. Because it's only in that place of bearing all that you can actually step forward and be all that you are to be. What is the military line? Be all you can be? Be all, say again?
Be all
Oh, it's actually, okay, be all you can, I don't know, I'm not in the military. So be all you can be. And if we know that God is all there is, then what is there that you could possibly not be, ultimately? Because the moment it pops into your mind, part of you is already it. And I would venture to say that it's not even part of you is already it. The moment it pops into your consciousness, the fullness of the truth of what you are is already being it. We just need to bring it into this physical form so that we are now living physically as it. So I challenge you once again, which I tend to do. I invite you. I don't challenge you. I invite you to dream far greater dreams than you have ever allowed yourself to dream. To be willing to outdream yourself. To be willing to let your dream be so magnificent that the moment you think about it, you smile. That the moment you talk about it, you get giddy, because just you know that by speaking it forth, you are bringing it forth. Rather than speaking about it, well, you know, I want to be a, don't I want to be. One of the things Eric Butterworth says when we pray, one of the greatest things we could ever pray is let it be. Let it be. Whatever it wants to be in you, through you, and as you, let it be. That's the whole point of let go and let God. Let it be. I already know what you're capable of. I invite you to know it as well. And so it is.